Matthew's Message, May 12, 2013. Higher Perspective of Earth. Violence, Duality. CIA, Boston Marathon Bombing. Zionist Movement. UFO Hearings. Climate Changing. With loving greetings from all souls at this station, this is Matthew. We know it is difficult for you to feel elated about Earth being in fourth density when violence still has a firm place in your world, and you wonder where the promised golden age is. Earth crossed the threshold of her golden age when she entered the safe harbor of fourth density almost 6 months ago, but many of her residents who accompanied her have not reached that density in spiritual and conscious awareness. So it is understandable if you feel discouraged by what appears to be little progress toward a peaceful world. Yes, we have mentioned these feelings before, and now just as then, never is it with criticism. In all truth, we could feel the same if we saw only what you do, but we have the immense advantage of being able to view Earth from this exceptional vantage point. We see the stunning differences in your world today compared with conditions at the beginning of Earth's ascension only 70-some years ago. We see ancient energy portals reopening and the incoming light being anchored all over the planet. We see the myriad sparkling lights of souls awakening as Earth keeps moving into ever higher vibrations, and we see all of her golden age glories fade accompli. You would feel not only encouraged, but jubilant if you could see all of this too, and how we wish you could. But you can't, so please let our knowledge of what has transpired and what is happening in this moment dispel any discouragement you may have, so its low vibrations don't dim your light. Your steadfastness in the light is as vital now as it always has been for you personally and for your society. You are the way showers for the newly awakened soul searchers. Doesn't the prevalence of violence show that darkness still has Earth in its grasp? Briefly stated, that is what some readers have written to my mother, and their concern is shared by other lightworkers. We assure you, the darkness that shrouded the planet for millennia was left behind when Earth exited third density. To explain why violence is ongoing even though the planet is securely in fourth density, we go back a bit in your time frame. Along Earth's ascension pathway, she passed through many energy levels and some time ago reached a level that started magnifying all characteristics and behavior. As the opposite ends of duality intensified, acts that reflect the best of humankind increased, and it was the same with acts that reflect the worst. Duality is at its zenith and everyone is reacting to the magnified voice within. Persons with tendencies toward violence are following their heightened urges to act violently. However, not everything is as it may seem. The Illuminati-controlled faction of the CIA still is active in terrorism, at times in conjunction with law enforcement personnel who unwittingly are abetting rather than capturing the perpetrators. In addition to using the few remaining mind-controlled individuals whom they have programmed, the faction has a list of likely persons to blame for their terrorist activities. They fabricate a plausible foundation around selective facts about those individuals and feed that story to the media. The bombing at the Boston Marathon was their handiwork. The two brothers alleged to be the bombers fit very well what the faction needed for that occasion. They had learned about the young men's interest in simple bomb construction and, tying that to their radical religious convictions and the older brother's months in Chechnya and Dagestan, they created suspects that the public would find believable. It is sad for you and for us that any violent incidents still are a part of life on Earth. They are tragic indeed for all who experience the loss of beloved persons or sustain severe injuries. We devoutly wish the grieving families could know that their members were greeted by departed family and dear friends upon entry into nirvana, where life is filled with activity, diversity and joyful awareness that each is part of the oneness of all. Despite mainstream media's belabored coverage of acts of terror and other heinous crimes, fear energy is dissipating. At soul level, everyone knows that the planet is 100-fold less toxic than it was only a few years ago, and as energy surges kept moving Earth into increasingly high vibrations, that knowledge started seeping into the consciousness. Many who formerly were deeply affected by media's fear-mongering no longer are susceptible to it. There is legitimate speculation and also strategic dire rumors about where Syria's civil war may lead. There will be no more full-blown international wars, and attempts to use nuclear weaponry will not be successful. Ultimately, the freedom fighters in Syria will be victorious and, like other countries where the citizenry ousted despotic rulers, that nation also will go through a period of unrest before achieving social and leadership stability. Israel's persistent belligerence is the work of the Zionists, another of the Illuminati's disparate groups, who serve only their own interests of conquest. Contrary to what they want you to believe, the Zionist movement does not represent the will of the Israelis or Jews anywhere else in the world. In time, this movement, which is losing favor even with its former staunch allies, will completely lose its credibility and influence. It is so that many souls are denied legal, health care, education, economic and social equality. And unfair laws, surveillance methods and other activities are infringing upon your privacy and curtailing freedoms. Chemtrails still are crossing your skies in some places and other polluting of your air, water and soil continues. So do desecration of your forests and dreadful treatment of animals in the seas and on land. Governments cannot much longer ignore the demands for significant reforms in those areas and all other harmful situations. Beneficial changes arise from the actions of the peoples, and grassroots movements throughout your world are rapidly swelling in numbers and effectiveness. You will see that all existing or proposed laws, policies, restrictions, products and systems that adversely impact life on Earth will be stricken incrementally. Persons who are connecting the dots of positive developments reported in independent publications, internet sites and television documentaries and interviews are feeling heartened. A recent dot with international application was in the United States. A group met with media representatives and a few former members of the Congress to speak about their personal observations and knowledge that offer clear evidence of intelligent extraterrestrial life. Citizen hearing on UFO disclosure at the National Press Club, Washington, D.C., starting April 29. A dozen years ago the group was at the same venue for the same purpose. That short meeting was completely ignored by the media, not to mention the U.S. government, and although the recent 5 days of formal hearings didn't generate headlines around the globe, it was mentioned in some press and coverage was posted on numerous internet sites. But the far greater significance of the week-long event is that it occurred. The Illuminati's influence in the United States, their last stronghold, has weakened so seriously that they could not prevent it. Your governments cannot continue much longer to cover up our family's presence, but please don't expect to shake hands with those who are living among you or greet landing crews next week. An official statement that other civilizations do exist, or maybe only the likelihood that they exist, would be a cautious first step, and your leaders who have been involved in announcement planning still are arguing about when will people be ready to hear this. Those leaders don't know that the decision is not theirs to make. In His infinitely greater wisdom, God will know when to give the go signal to the highest universal council, and then some of the thousands of crews surrounding the planet will join you. They will add their technologies to those developed by your scientists many years ago but usurped by the Illuminati, and when you no longer need their assistance, those family members will return to their homelands. This is an appropriate place to address another concern shared by a number of light workers. No, the fact that there have been no mass landings does not mean that the benevolent ones in our universal family have abandoned you and a civilization that means to enslave you now is in place. The only crews in your skies are light warriors, and they are serving you in profoundly necessary ways. Technologies on the ships are reducing pollution in the atmosphere, causing weapons of war to malfunction, preventing massive terrorist attempts, directing light into your waters to help sustain marine life, and blasting or vaporizing any small elements in space that could harm Earth. Vast, powerful civilizations still are beaming light from afar to the planet, and ETs right there with you who are in positions of influence are pressing forward in reform efforts. Let us mention another area where ongoing arguments are pointless. Global warming due to humankind's willful neglect, ignorance and denial absolutely is real, to be sure, but the melting of polar ice, record-breaking temperature extremes and other weather anomalies are Earth's steps toward returning to a moderate climate globally, the way it was when the entire planet was the Garden of Eden. Skiers and other cold weather sports enthusiasts need not fret that snow-capped mountains will disappear. Most assuredly, they won't. Earth's majestic mountain ranges and awesome gorges formed by dynamic upheavals and mighty waters didn't exist when the planet first came into being, but these spectacular aspects of her natural beauty that delight you delight her, too. Mother, I think readers will enjoy the part of the transmission from the dear soul in Nirvana that pertains to climate. Please insert that, and also her later short conversation with you. The following is an excerpt of Grace's information in Earth's Golden Age, Life Beyond 2012. Her part of that book is a few brief selections of her several lengthy transmissions that became the Grace chapter in Illuminations for a New Era. The information below is from her first transmission, in 1999. My service at this point is studying the mechanics of taking apart weather anomalies and softening their effects in our atmosphere. And I do mean our, like yours and ours. We aren't all that far from you, you know, and furthermore, we have such close bonds with you all that we aren't separated in very many ways. By our lighter density and the respective weather, yes, we are, but still it's your and our atmosphere I'm working on. I know that sounds almost too weird to believe, but that's the easiest way for me to tell you. That isn't at all how I'd describe it here. But you don't have our words, so how could you begin to know what I mean if I use our vocabulary? There aren't any synonyms or similar expressions there for this process. It's something that can't help immediately, but in the long run, what I'm doing will make a good difference. It's not that I can harness the winds of Earth or act as if I'm a global umbrella in those major storms. I'm studying how to contain the energy so that it can be dispersed rather than congregate and then explode. I should have said dispersed in a routine and slow and easy way instead of just sitting for a while and then acting as if it's got the whole world by the tail and then, watch out, here's another hurricane or tornado. It's going to take a while for this to have any effect, you know. There's a lot more still to come by whatever designation it's given: cleansing, purification, increasing the light, lightening Earth's burdens of negativity, ascension process, but it all adds up to the very same thing. A lot of geological activity with pretty heavy damage is still in store. There's no way out of this, you know. Energy is energy, and you can't say, shoo, baby, go dissipate. Actually, that's what I'm working on, how to get to that status of being able to handle things so that if rain is needed, it comes, just enough of it. When it's done, it goes away until it's needed again. The rhythm, the pattern is set, you see? The following is part of Grace's and my short conversation in October 2011. These crews in your skies are getting antsy. They've been ready for years to lend and get going on the things they can do to help you, that their technologies can. You've got some developments of your own that have been kept under wraps, and a few of you know this and what they're capable of, but just wait until you see ET tech in action. Also, your weather and natural disasters, just a few words about that. You know that for ages much of that has been created by technology combinations controlled by the Illuminati. Well, that's going to end in a big hurry. Actually, it's already slowed down a lot, and none of those claims about fantastic, as in fantasy make-believe, not fantastic fabulous, catastrophic upheavals roving around the internet will ever happen. Just keep your eye on a glorious world, Earth's golden age, and don't be afraid of big changes, they're all to the good. Grace, how are you doing with your weather of the future? Wonderfully. We're all set for the time when Earth has dumped all the negativity and we can act on her choice for a moderate climate everywhere. It won't take as long as you might think to turn deserts into vegetable gardens. Thank you, Mother. Now, dear Earth family, you know that people in Nirvana are doing more than beaming love to you. They're serving in ways that probably you never imagined anyone living in a spirit world could manage. Many countries are honoring mothers on this day, and all of your countries have special days to honor individuals who have made extraordinary contributions in one way or another. What rejoicing there will be when every day you honor self and all other souls in this universe as God's family of divine beings. Love and peace. Suzanne Ward. www.matthewbooks.com